Well, Bailey, I was telling Walt that my aunt died last week, and she was
Oh.
96, and she was the last sibling of my mother's, and same thing with my dad. He has no more siblings.
Wow.
Yeah, so it is weird.
That's a big deal.
It is, you know, because it's like, you know, imminent, obviously. And then a friend of mine that I work with said, oh, yeah, and then you start thinking that you're next. I'm like, well, I hadn't thought of that until you said it, but thank you for that.
You personally are next? Or you mean... Oh.
Yeah, like our generation is next. Okay, thanks for that.
Right, you're like...
Well, good point. Thank you.
I know. See you later.
I had no idea.
But, you know, she's Irish, and I'm telling you, it's funny. There are two women that I work with now who are very Irish. You know, they don't come from, they weren't born there or anything, but, like, they are very into that the culture and everything. And so they recommended that I watch Dairy Girls. Did you guys watch that? Yeah.
I have watched it.
And then I watched the Banshees of Inisherin the other day, and I don't know what else, but I mean, like, their sense of humor is so dark. So dark.
I know.
You know?
Dairy Girls is great, I thought.
I love Dairy Girls. Holy crow.
I have to watch it with subtitles.
Well, I did it first.
The dialect is so hard to understand.
Yeah. I had never heard that dialect before.
Yeah.
Well, I watch everything with captions now, so it
Right.
doesn't matter.
I hate doing that, though.
I can't really go to the movies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I miss most of it.
Don't they have some kind of service at the movies that you can...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think there's something.
But you don't do that.
I don't want to join that club.
Right.
Okay.
I don't want to be a geriatric.
I don't want to be told I'm next.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You must be thinking about your parents all the time.
Well, yeah. Yeah, and it's, you know, it's weird because my dad, you know, has dementia, and his last neurologist appointment, you know,
Right.
it has progressed. They upped the dosage on this patch that he has. I think we've talked about that patch before, right?
Right.
And the doctor also added this other drug that supposedly stimulates brain activity. And so, you know, my mom is, I think, tired of having to remind him to do things, you know, like in terms of taking his medicines and stuff. So I was over there last night and I made him this whiteboard, you know, with, like, you know, very simple instructions. And I filled up a month-long pill box and all that. And I still don't know if it's going to work.
Right.
You know, I hope it will. And maybe, like, if it gets into his structure of his day, that will, you know, that's my hope. But I don't know if it will or not. And
Right.
But he has to remember to look at the whiteboard, right?
well, the thing is, I put it right in the kitchen by the fridge, right? And that's like the one place where I know that, you know, he's going to end up at some point. And so I put, you know, breakfast, you do this, dinner, you do this. And everything's in that pill box, and his patches are right there. And so, you know... And the thing is, like, I was like, well, you read the paper every day, right? So look at the date on the paper and then go to that number on the pill box.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
What's your mom think?
About that system?
Yeah.
I don't know, you know. It's hard to even describe their dynamic, you know. She's always on top of him. And, you know, this week has been very hard for her with her sister, you know, going and everything. And
Right.
you know, I'm sitting there just explaining to my father, and she keeps jumping in. I'm like, Mom, just let me explain this to him, you know? But, you know, the thing is, he's been on this new patch dosage for probably 2 or 3 weeks now. And last night we played cards. And when we've been playing cards lately, he has been making a mistake a game, right? And my father does not make mistakes at cards. So last night we played and he did not make any mistakes, I noticed. Now that was really interesting. In fact, he took something from me that I should have seen. So, you know, I'm hoping that maybe it has made a difference and that this other pill that he's starting on will maybe make a difference too. I don't know. Yeah.
Sorry.
But my parents, I mean, you know, my dad probably has the heart of a 40-year-old because of his previous distance running.
Right.
You know, I don't know. I know he wants to live to 100 for sure. So I don't know. I don't put it past either of them, frankly, but who knows? I mean, with my aunt, she was 96, obese. So she had been in a nursing home for like 8 years because she wasn't really mobile anymore, but she still had all her faculties and she was still 96 when she died. So, you know, she had some kind of infection and then it turned into sepsis.
Yeah. Yeesh.
And that's very, you know, that's so common with the older you get, you know, and that's the end of it. So anyway, I don't know. It's morbid, I know.
Why did I steer the conversation toward death again and and debilities and old age? And
Well,
so
because someone just died, so we have to listen. My sister-in-law's sister just died of breast cancer last week. She's in her 50s. You know, it's just
Yeah.
it's all around us. I feel like.
Yeah, girl I went to high school with died a couple weeks ago. Same thing, breast cancer.
so this is our 5th season.
Is it really?
Technically, we took hiati in between.
Wow.
Wow, crazy.
There was Dave, and then there were
Yeah.
the guest season, and then there was BAYLIE 1, BAYLIE 2, and this is BAYLIE 3.
Oh my God.
Well, see, this is one of the few series that gets better as it ages.
Oh, absolutely.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. BAYLIE is no Kirstie Alley. She's more like,
Thank you.
well, you know how Kirstie Alley came in for Who and on Cheers, and no one liked her.
Shelley Long.
Right.
But then, so who has substituted for someone and made it better?
And that's a reference from an old person, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, what is Cheers? Is it 40 years old?
it must be. Yeah.
It's got to be.
At least 35. At least
Yeah.
35.
Everything.
Yeah.
Seinfeld is 25.
I started watching those again recently. The early ones are really great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the few that kind of sitcoms that really holds up, I think.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
And you really realize just how cruel they really were.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's a change in the culture since then.
Right.
A lot
Right.
of things couldn't be done now.
Oh,
You're right.
yeah. But in some instances, more things can be done. It's kind of a weird dichotomy, you know?
It seems like every sitcom has to have a message of some kind, though, some sort of morality thread
See,
in
I
the
don't
plot or
watch
the
those.
dialogue.
I watch things like I Think You Should Leave, which has no, like, well, it's not a sitcom either. It's sketch comedy, but it has no, like, it's just surreal from start to
Right.
finish. But what are the ones with, you don't watch them either.
I don't really watch them, but
This is what we know about them, so maybe a factoid.
every now and then I'll come across one like the Tim Allen one, Last Man Standing or something, and that's a relatively recent one. And I'll look at that, and there's always something in it that says, oh, you should be nicer to people. And
Oh.
not that that's not a bad thing, but I mean, there's always some subplot like that. So
Yeah.
Whereas Red Fox didn't give a shit.
right,
Yeah. Red Fox.
Elizabeth,
I'm coming.
Elizabeth.
Have you listened to any Charbroiled Chats?
Yes.
You have?
Yeah.
Because I was just going to recommend listen to the last one we did before.
Yeah, I
this
haven't
one.
either.
I have
I
not
need
listened to that one yet.
I'm sorry. It's decent. It's a decent product.
Uh-huh.
It really is.
Because of you, Walt.
No.
The audio, how it sounds that way, or the conversation?
By the time it gets edited, that has something to do with it.
It makes us sound like we actually have brains.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
all the ums and pauses are taken out. But still,
Oh.
if this genre, conversational genre, if you like that, I would think almost anybody could listen to that because it just flows from beginning to end, and you don't know
I agree.
what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's fun to listen to.
And it's short, which is nice.
Yeah, I think the 20-minute thing is good. So that's just a little promo for our own. Not that anyone cares. But
For the 3 listeners here.
And our fourth one, yeah,
our first one was November 27th, 2020.
that was COVID, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Damn.
I wouldn't have guessed we started it during COVID. I thought it was
Yeah.
before that. But yet at the same time, I didn't think it's been, you said 5 years?
Well, 5 seasons.
5 seasons.
Right,
Okay.
that's different.
5
It's like
seasons, yes.
Yellowstone, and then there's a break in season 5 while everybody waits for the
Yes.
end
I
of
know.
season.
Yeah.
By the way, we watched Yellowstone because everybody was talking about it, and I wasn't that interested. 2 episodes in, I was completely hooked.
Oh, that's
Yep.
funny.
It's it's Dallas again,
Right.
but with an edge and nastiness and brutality and
Is that Kevin
that.
Costner? Is
Yeah.
he in that?
so then we went back and watched 1883.
Yeah. With Harrison Ford.
And now we're watching
Oh, no.
1923.
Who's 1883? Is that Sam Elliott
Yeah, Sam
with a
Elliott.
big mustache? Yeah. I love
Yeah,
him.
and
I did too.
and all of them are just like candy. I mean, most shows you sit there and you wait to be surprised.
Mm-hmm.
These, like, exactly what's going to happen. And so you hang out to see it happen because you want to see that person get revenge, or you want to see that. Anyway, we really liked him, and so we watched the whole freaking oeuvre.
4 seasons.
Yeah, I mean, it's a soap opera. It hooks you in the same way a soap opera
Right.
It
does,
is,
right?
but it's just like Walt said, it's edgy.
It's so well
It's
done.
edgy. It's
Yeah.
it's super. I mean, it's violent. The first season is pretty violent.
Really?
There are some
Yeah.
scenes that are extremely violent,
Yeah.
and
Really hard to watch. Yeah,
Really?
but then
not like Game of Thrones hard to watch.
Oh, okay.
but then
I
there
was gonna
are
say like Walking Dead, hard to watch.
a lot of scenes that are just cows being herded and country music that go on for a minute or 2 minutes. It's a nice break from the rape and explosions.
From the train station.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah. I have an email from our listener. It has to be explained partly, but I'm a little scared about how this is going to go. Also, we have another listener now, Rick. And I saw on Instagram, Rick said he called himself your other listener.
Right.
So I think he's a little miffed
Oh no.
that he's not, Jody in Connecticut.
Well, I thought we had some guy, also some dude somewhere.
Is Jody a dude or a gal?
It's a dude.
Oh,
Jody.
okay. All right. Sorry.
I've been saying Joe because I didn't want to pin it down to Jody because he lives in a small town.
Jeez Louise.
Somebody could search for all the Jodys in
He could be
Connecticut.
run.
What town is he in?
I don't want to say that.
He could be run out of town.
So Jody in Connecticut says, I listened to your most recent podcast about sugar. I found it wonderful as usual, but there was one minor problem. From what I can tell,
Number 1.
Grace appears to be a fantastic person, full of energy and intellect and love. However, at one point during the broadcast, Grace made a disparaging remark about mayonnaise,
Ooh.
referring to it as a junk food.
Did I?
I have to explain that from the time I've known Jody in college, he's got a little problem with mayonnaise, a little fixation.
Wow.
Perhaps even a fetish. I don't know if it goes that far.
Sounds like it.
He's got a jar by his bed. Is that what you're saying?
Jeez, that's gross. That's disgusting.
Hey, you said fetish. I went there.
That's where I immediately went. Yeah. I went there before you said fetish.
He said, I could not let this stand. You must inform Grace that if she wishes to keep her listener from Connecticut, she must avoid making these remarks about mayonnaise, implying that it is nothing but a junk food. Perhaps she should be informed that the famous chef James Beard told an interviewer once that he could live without any particular kind of food except for mayonnaise. Did you tell her about the mayonnaise sandwiches at the orphanage? That's a long story about his mother was at an orphanage, and she lived for a long time on mayonnaise sandwiches. So it's kind of I guess it's a family thing.
Because she had to.
Right.
Not because she liked them.
Well, apparently, whatever you're used to, you continue. So,
I guess.
So anyway, Grace should know these things if she's to be a complete broadcaster.
Yeah. Okay, I'm on notice, I guess.
So I went back and listened to that episode to find out what you said, and you were talking about how your cholesterol went up. And you said, I don't eat mayonnaise, fried foods, garbage like that. So that's what set him off.
Right. Should I install a camera outside my door? Or?
Should she apologize?
Well, I mean, orphanages might have done that, but I believe automats in the 30s helped people stay alive by letting them make ketchup soup. So I can't disparage ketchup either.
So I don't know. We don't want to lose that listener.
Yeah, you're right. I love mayonnaise.
You do.
I do. I love
That's
it.
the truth. Yeah.
Yeah.
I eat it on tuna fish.
Not on chicken bird.
Oh, I love it.
I mean, you know what the thing is? I do love it. And the problem was when I was growing up, and probably because it was more expensive, we always had, what's that stuff called?
Miracle
something
Whip?
Miracle Whip.
Ah.
Now that stuff tastes like shit. And we always had that. It's gross.
It's too sweet.
It's gross.
He hates that.
So when I finally had mayo,
Yeah.
I mean, in high school, they used to make a mixture of tuna and egg salad. And of course, real mayo. It was good.
Ooh.
That and a nice ice cream scoop
Right.
of rice with gravy. That was the ideal high school lunch.
I think my love of mayonnaise started when I was a kid. Oh, this sounds really terrible, doesn't it? That was so canned.
That's music to Jody's ears.
So we used to live a few blocks from a deli on Lexington and 90.
Oh, a deli. They're masters of
3rd
mayo.
Street, I think it was.
Right?
My father loved to go there and get roast beef sandwiches, rye bread, mayonnaise. That was it. And of course a pickle on the side and wrapped in, the nice paper that they always wrap sandwiches in. So that was kind of a thing. We'd go down to the deli and the nice guy behind the counter with the big mustache would make us this great sandwich and we'd take them home and have them and, watch football or something. But there was always the perfect amount of mayonnaise. And ever since then, I've never been able to have a roast beef sandwich with anything but mayonnaise. No tomato, no lettuce.
Oh, that's funny. Oh, so he didn't have anything else on it.
No, salt and pepper. Mayonnaise and salt and pepper. That was it. Very pure. I understand where Jody's coming from.
All the damage that Grace did to Jody, you've corrected it now.
I've brought him back.
Yeah.
Has been mitigated.
He's been resuscitated.
Abatement. We had mayonnaise abatement here.
I really, beef with mayonnaise, that to me is just, I couldn't do that.
You want horseradish, right?
Horseradish or mustard.
Ooh, that's a good one too. Should we have a condiment episode? Is that what we're doing?
That's a good idea.
Condiment chats?
Condiment chats. It would work with the CC, right?
That's right.
I heard that the whole strategy of giving someone something positive before you stab them in the back does actually not work.
Doesn't? Bad cop, good cop?
Yeah, like, if you have to give someone a bad review, don't say all these things first. Like, you keep a very clean desk, and then you're like, but you're totally incompetent. That doesn't work.
Mm.
Right, but you're fired.
Yeah.
Should you do it the other way?
I don't think,
like you're
I don't
fired,
know,
but your positives are
but
this
you keep a
good
really
desk.
clean desk.
Yeah.
There was a kids in the hall on the other day where this guy goes into his boss's office and his boss does not want to tell him he's fired, but he closes his eyes and it says "you're fired" on his eyelids, and then he puts his feet up on the desk and it says "you're fired" on the soles of his shoes. He puts the blind down and says "you're fired."
How are your phones doing?
Mine is fine.
I just got a new one, finally.
Wow.
What do you have now?
A 14?
A 14.
Oh, boy.
Wow. I'm still on my 7S.
I was on my 8, but it was getting glitchy, and there was lots of things that were just it was tired because it was a repurposed one too. So
I feel like maybe I don't do enough on my phone to have it be glitchy. Do you do a lot of
no, but I found
specific things on your phone?
things like I couldn't send pictures to people through email. Just stuff like that. Things that I like to do. So
yeah.
My phone is $120, and it does everything that any other phone does, except maybe the camera is not as good.
Next time I get one, that's what I'm getting.
What is the point of $1,200?
I don't know.
I didn't spend that.
I don't know.
Come on, Bailey.
I didn't spend that.
Did you get a deal like with your carrier?
Yeah, we get them through the office, so I didn't even pay for it. So
Gotcha.
Oh, that's the secret. Don't pay for it.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have this.
That's the secret to having a good phone.
Don't pay for it, for sure.
Steal it. Yeah, well, actually, that's part of the Spain update. Luis had to get a new phone. And, of course he just, it's my fault, right? He can't get just your regular phone. He had to get the 14 Pro Max, right? So I'm like, okay, well, at the very least, I'm going to pay month by month, right? Well, then he gets back and he finds out that you can't unlock it to use the Spanish carrier unless it's totally paid for.
Wow.
So then I had to totally pay for
Huh.
it.
What the heck?
And not only that, but it's got to be on your plan for 40 days before you can switch the carrier.
So everybody in
It's
Spain
ridiculous.
has to have their phone all paid for?
No, oh, well, it's not in Spain in particular. It's T-Mobile.
Oh.
If your phone is not paid for, you can't unlock it,
Oh.
which I didn't know.
You can't unlock certain features, you mean?
Well, you can't unlock it to use another carrier, to swap out SIM
I see.
cards
Just
or
okay.
whatever. Although the 14 does not
Right,
have a
right.
physical SIM card. It has the eSIM, I guess.
Yeah, it was really easy to set up. It was amazing. I put my old phone next to my new phone, and they just talked, and they just talked, and they just talked, and transferred stuff, and it was super easy.
That looks like they did more than talking, Bailey. I don't know.
No, that would have been this, or maybe this.
Wow.
Thank God we're not videotaping this.